so that you can do everything that you want to. Kicking it with Coach Lane's time to listen to conversations that's gonna keep you winning. Sunday nights at 10 p.m. on the air and each just call it. Conversations with Coach La 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 Coach La 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 La.
Hey. How y'all doing? Welcome to another episode of Conversations with Coach La La La. How y'all doing out there on this nice Sunday? You know, it's kind of chilly here in Massachusetts, but, you know, I got on my turtleneck and my blazer today. So shout out to everybody who attended the 9 Alarms Franchise Entertainment Halloween Bash that went down on Friday with Busta Rhymes and Will Trax and Christopher Williams. Oh my goodness, we had us a good old time at the Russell Auditorium. I don't know what everybody else was saying about the party, but I had fun. I had me a ball. Shout out to everybody in their costumes, because you know what? We came outside, okay? We was outside. I was Catwoman. There was Wednesday. I mean, we had some robots. What's going on, Ray Royale? Thank you for tuning in. That's my brother from another mother. You know, we just had us a good old time. We had Coming to America. Ray Royale was chilling with the Coming to America costume on. They did it again. I really want to say big shout out to Dange, Seth Lowe, and D Nice for putting together an awesome event. Y'all know what's up. What's next is the Urban Escape on the Cape that's going down in December. We got 3 days that we're taking over the resort Seacrest. You want to make sure you come and be there. Don't be left out, man. Them rooms there's not that many rooms left. So we just really have had, I said, a jam-packed weekend. And I've been so grateful and so blessed to be able to do a lot of things that I've loved to do. Yesterday, I slept all day and I just rested. But yeah, it's good. You know, I'm stepping into chapter 50 in 2026. So I'm doing just like Busta Rhymes said. You know, if you think about it, if your first 25 years you was living for your parents, if you have kids and a family, the next 25 years you're living for your kids, your family, or your significant other, trying to make sure they're happy. But that last stretch, that last 25, man, listen, you better be unapologetic about it and live your life to the fullest, because we got less years ahead of us at this point. If you're hitting that 50 mark. Still can't believe I'm about to turn 50. Oh, goodness. It's something to think about. But I'm blessed. I'm thankful. If you didn't know, better ask somebody just to remind those that are new tonight, because I know we got a lot of new listeners that are tuning in every week, because I see the numbers. You're listening to Conversations with Coach La. I am Coach La, your favorite around-the-way therapist. And for all those that think that this is just a gimmick, right, or a radio personality thing, I'm really a licensed therapist, y'all. I got a master's in clinical social work, a master's in business, and I'm an executive coach. So I'm not just doing it for radio, but this is my way of doing something that I love, inspired by my dad, who passed away 7 years ago. And he always encouraged me to get back into radio. Some of y'all don't know, I've been doing radio for a really long time. My son was 3 when I first ventured into radio, I believe. He's now 20. So on again, off again, but I've been doing this show now for 3 years. And I love my Urban Heat family. So tonight, let me tell you about what we're going to do, because y'all know we talk about all things mental health, and we always debunking the stigma around mental health. Like I told y'all, all episodes, we all have mental health. It is not just a thing that happens for people with a diagnosis. Just like your physical health, you have a mental health. But tonight, we have a special guest joining me on the virtual couch. And I actually found him on social media. Keep telling y'all, social media is not all bad, right? I meet some great people through social media that are really, really dope. So tonight we have Mr. Mike James. And he was put on this earth to make people laugh, y'all. With his improvisation skills and his over-exaggerated blend of comedy, Mike has quickly become one of Nashville's hottest acts. He often uses his experiences as a father, a husband, and generally confused man, which I want to understand a little bit more about that. But if you listen to any of his sets, you'll get that he has some very interesting, relatable comedy. But he relates to his audience in a hilarious montage of miscommunication and everyday observations, which are quite funny. Mike has opened up and toured with various national headliners, including Nate Bargatze, I hope I said his name right, Godfrey, Lonnie Love, Ralphie May, Rosie O'Donnell, my man Arsenio Hall, Earthquake, Gilbert Godfrey, and Dick Gregory, and of course, and just to name a few, but we can't forget about Kevin Hart. Mike has also performed on national TV shows, y'all. Y'all heard that right? And Live at Gotham is one of them. He also did Stand Up Nashville and Huckabee Live, and also kept on stage. Keep Your Distance. In late 2022, Mike's first dry bar special, Southern Comfort, I like Southern Comfort too, was released and stayed on Dry Bar's top 10 for 5 straight weeks, y'all. 5 straight weeks. And then that also included, but he had 2 weeks where he was #1. So I want to bring Mr. FunnyMan Mike James. Oh wait, I got something I want to play first. Before I got just play this little clip I found of him because I thought it was kind of funny. So I want to play that before I bring him on stage. If I could find my clip, I hate when this happens. See, I had everything set up and ready to go, and now my clip is gone. Got to bring the clip back. Y'all give me 2 seconds now. Remember, this is all comedy. It's all live, right? So y'all can give your girl a minute to pull up the clip, right? Here we go. I don't know where it went. I think because it got removed somehow, but hopefully it'll come up in a second here. And we'll be able to play the clip. There we go. So let's play this clip real quick so y'all can get a little taste of Mr. FunnyMan Mike James.
There's a 6'5" black man, you should be scared because I might rob you. Truth is, I'm scared of spiders, so can't be a criminal with arachnophobia. I don't know. Like if I got a gun and you got a daddy long legs, you win.
So without further ado, let's bring on the stage, virtual couch, the man of the hour, Mr. Mike James. How you doing, sir?
Good. How you doing? What's good?
What's going on, man? You definitely, it's good to have you on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for your yes.
No
I appreciate that. You could have told me no. I shot my shot and slid in your DMs like, hey, Mike, what's going on?
Yeah.
Why don't you jump on this virtual couch with me? And you gave me yes. You gave me a little bit more courage to ask somebody else in the future. So I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
So everybody who comes on the show, right? Because this season, we've been talking about the whole reinvention of ourselves, right? And legacy and liberation. So tonight we're talking about dreaming in color. Made me think about living color. They did some of the most courageous things with comedy back in the day. So entrepreneurship and creativity. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about your journey into being a comedian and some of the things that sort of shaped your experience. So before we get into that, beyond your accolades and performances, what's something about you that you want people to know? Who is Mike James beyond what we see online and the clips? And well, we know you're scared of spiders, but unless that was just a joke.
No, that's true. That's real. I'm scared of spiders and heights. But no, I'm a husband, a father, a son, a brother. Friend. Just try to be a good person. A lot of people don't. One thing they may not know about me is I'm actually pretty shy. I'm a shy person, which I know what I do. My job it contradicts that, but it really is true. I'm shy, so that's something weird.
Yeah, you know what though? I have found a lot of people in entertainment are. My friend Vic Breedy gave me a term for it last week. Social introverts. So they know how to be social, but they are not extroverts. So I was like, that's a good way to do it. So, I said, well, I never really thought about that. But a lot of people, if you approach them, they'll talk to you, but they're not going to start the conversation first.
That's me. Yep.
Right.
That's me to a T.
Yep. And so she does spoken word. She's an author, and she does all these things that put her out in front of people where you would think if you're shy, you wouldn't be able to do those things.
Yep.
But you might be a social introvert. You might not be shy.
See, it's weird because like I've been doing stand-up for 19 years, and every time, no matter what stage I'm at, I'm always like nervous, like real nervous before I go up. And then the crazy thing is, as soon as they call my name, I'm not shy. I'm not nervous anymore. So I kind of feel like that's just a different personality on stage. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it's called an alter ego.
Yeah,
yeah. I remember Michael Jackson speaking on that. There's a lot of entertainers. Beyonce that talks about being nervous before every show. I think that kind of comes with the territory. Truth be told, I've been doing this show for 3 years, and every week I'm nervous.
Really?
Every week. So I can relate. Like, and I know nobody notices it. Everybody's like, I can't. You don't look no nervous, coach. You look like you know exactly what you're doing. I come in like 2 hours early.
Right. Yeah.
So I can get in the zone and be relaxed and look over my notes. And I do this every week, no fail.
Me too. I'm generally, I'm the same. I'm generally the first comedian at the club or at the show. I need to be there, just kind of get into my zone, my mode, and just kind of try to relax a little before I go up.
So one of the guys I follow on social media talked about anxiety because it's just like any other feeling or emotion, and it actually can be used in a healthy way. I think that makes me be prepared and organized by having a little bit of anxiety. Also means I want to do a good job. So I kind of embraced it and leaned into it, and I don't let it scare me anymore. It just means that whatever it is important to me. And so that's how I funnel it into a positive, because I'm like, oh man, I'm getting nervous. But no, I'm like, you care about it. If you didn't care about it, you wouldn't even, you just go and do it any kind of day. You'd be willy-nilly about it.
Yeah. And people told me that's what it means, that you really care. And I want to just take that and use it, but it doesn't help me. I'm still like super nervous. I question why I'm doing this to myself. Why do I do this every day? Like every time I get ready to do a show, I go through those emotions.
Oh, I feel so seen. I feel so seen. I feel so connected to you right now. Like, I'm like, every week you get up and you go do the show at 10 o'clock. Yeah. Why are you nervous? You do this every week.
It doesn't matter.
I still connected to wanting to do a good job, and understanding that anything that matters to you is going to create some level of anxiety. I think. Yeah. Some people will say, I don't get nervous. I'm never nervous. But I don't know.
Yeah. Maybe I know people like that.
They just go in and they just ready.
Yeah, and I know people like that. They could eat before a show. Like I could never do that. Like it's just too much. I get too nervous. So I don't know how they do it. But to each his own.
Yep. Shout out to my co-facilitator, James Lambert III. I just told him this at an event we just did. And I said, I don't eat, I don't drink. I drink some water.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what it is. So we have this whole season been talking about reclaiming our voice and, how having purpose and having a why is one of the things that really help people to manage their mental health. So I'm curious, how have you really, tapped into realizing that this creative voice you had, your gift for comedy could be something that you could actually do beyond a hobby?
That was a good question. So it's weird because I used to watch Richard Pryor live on Sunset Strip. Like I used to I mean, to the point where I wouldn't even laugh. I was just watching. And I didn't realize at the time I was actually studying. But I just I could not stop watching this dude. Um, so my now wife, she was my girlfriend at the time. She had a family reunion in Orlando. We went to it, and while we were there, we went to a open mic at the Orlando Improv, and that's where I saw like comedians up front, and it was like a showcase. So it was like you had your new people and your okay people, and then you had your headliner. And the new people, I felt like I was funnier than, and then there was the okay people. I felt like I was just as funny. And then when I saw the headline, I was like, oh, I want to do what he's doing. And when I saw that, I just felt connected to what he was doing, and I wanted to do that. And then just a quick little pivot later on, like later on after I started doing comedy, I think I was maybe a year into it. I went to go see DL Hughes. He was at our club, and I was in the back, and I was in the green room with him. I'm talking to him. I'm hanging out with him. I do that like the entire weekend, and at the end of the weekend, he was about to go. He was talking about going to golf the next morning, and I remember going to work that next morning, and I was thinking, you know, he's golfing right now, and this weekend he probably made more money than I make this entire year. And he's doing what he loves doing. And it never sat right with me that I wasn't living in my purpose. So I had to figure, I had to do it. I couldn't. It was depressing me to not live in that purpose.
It's interesting how you're mentioning one, seeing other people do something, because sometimes folks won't realize how people inspire them, and they'll start talking about we're copying people and all these different things. But I think you need to sometimes see. I'm a visual learner too. I need to see it visually being done to let me know that it's real, it's tangible, something I can touch. And the comparison there of I'm just as good, right? And if they can do it, I can do it, I think is a positive way to utilize that type of energy. And even with DL, man, listen, he's doing doing something. He's doing what he's loving. He's going to play golf. And how can I do that? I think those are positive ways to use influence and get inspired by someone. Now, how did you turn it into currency? Because I know it didn't just happen overnight. So how did you?
No, it did not.
How did you go from because I know a lot of people who listen to my show, we talk about betting on self. And for a lot of people, they have these ideas too, and these aspirations, but they get stuck, right? Life gets in the way, and negative self-talk gets in the way, anxiety gets in the way. How did you push through that to really take it from this idea to actually making it work and making it lucrative for yourself?
So, I mean, the short answer would be God and my wife. That'll be the short answer, right? The long answer would be it took just like literally like prayer, words of encouragement, tears, because in the beginning it's no fun. Like I mean it's fun, but it's the business side of it is not fun because you're getting all no's. They're like the yeses are few and far between. So you have to have someone, which I was blessed enough to have my wife there to encourage me, to tell me, I got you. She held me down, and just kind of put your head down and keep going. And that's the thing with comedy. It's kind of changed a little in these last couple of years because of social media. It's kind of shifted a little, so it's not as hard to to start monetizing it, as it was, kind of back when I started. Um, so it's and that's the positive of it, is that you can get into to making money early. But I say, like, you have to really have thick skin to do this, because you're gonna get a lot of no's, and you got to be able to push through those. And that's unfortunately for a lot of people, that's what gets them, that's when they fall out of comedy. And
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of people do that. I had a lot of people that I started with that aren't doing it anymore. I've had some people who who started with me, stop doing it, and then they see what could have happened if they kept going.
Mhm.
And and I kind of, you can see the regret. And listen, I wouldn't tell them to not, that they chose wrong, because honestly, it's not easy. Like, this is anything dealing with entrepreneurship is not easy.
I think it gets glamorized at times, right? Where people
Oh
don't
yeah.
realize, how many no's, how many times
Mm-hmm.
we don't know what we're doing. And just like with my role, I'm both a psychotherapist, but I'm also in private practice, running a group practice as well. So I'm just not a therapist. I'm also a business owner. So I got a dual role where I have to be present for clients, and also once that screen turns off, I got to go in business mode. There's administrative things and all these behind the scenes that I need to do just to keep the business going. So it's not for the faint at heart, put it that way, right? You definitely need to have a support system, good people around you.
Yeah. And then, I mean, and then to your point, like with the social media, like, it's highlights. It's all highlights. Like, and I'm not knocking that. I actually, went through my own little issue where I felt bad. Like, am I just showing only highlights? But then I thought about how many no's I get. I'm like, I don't want to glamorize the no's. I don't need to put that out there. Like, I've gotten plenty of them. So I will put my wins out there. But people should understand that those are just the highlights of people's lives that you're seeing. It's not the dirt and the mud that you're gonna have to deal with.
Yeah. One of the reasons why I do this show is precisely for that, right? Because I think people have said, social media is so fake and it's not real. And I got a different take on it. I think social media is a reflection of the world, a reflection of us. So it's very much real, right? It's just, how do you want to interpret the data points and the information that's being perpetuated? And do you buy into it? Do you internalize it? Do you question it? That's anything. That's a book. That's classes that you take. Like, all of it is real. It's a part of our real world. So the things that you're saying makes a lot of sense. And we're all trying to figure out what's the best method to promote ourselves. And people's attention spans have just decreased. They don't. And we got data to prove it, right? So you put a video out there, people watch the first 30 seconds and the numbers drop. So
it's hard to keep them.
Yeah, so we are catering to the clientele and the audience, right? People don't want to sit through a whole comedy show. They want to hear the highlights, and if the highlights are good enough, they may go watch the whole show.
Right. That's the thing. Another thing too, which you mentioned, is not knowing the pathway. Like, that's another frustrating thing about doing comedy. I can't speak for all aspects of entrepreneurship, but just not knowing what, I mean, this is trial by fire. Like, you don't know what works. You don't know where to go. You don't know who to talk to. You have to, like, that you build that up through networking and just going out there and doing it yourself. But that's another thing. It's a grind, and when you don't know where you're going or how long it's going to take for you to get there. Like, I remember this guy named Talent, super funny, out of New York.
I remember
Talent. Okay? Yeah, he's
Yeah,
hilarious.
Talent has been here to Boston a couple times. Shout out to Uncle JG. He does
Oh yeah.
Black Comedy Explosion every Wednesday at the
Okay.
Carver. Yeah, so
Okay.
Talent
Yeah.
has been there and performed.
Super funny. Super
Very
funny,
funny. He
dude.
does voices and all of that.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So one time Talent said that I bet you if most people knew that it would take at least 10 years before you saw any kind of success in comedy, most people wouldn't do it. If you told people like before, all right, you want to start doing comedy, okay, you're gonna have to grind at this 10 years before you, at least 10 years before you get any kind of success. How many people would do it?
Right. But what we don't, and you're absolutely right, but most things,
Mm-hmm.
there's a book I read called Outliers, and it talked
Mm-hmm.
about needing 10,000 hours of
Mm-hmm.
anything before you could actually say you've mastered it, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you got to put time into this stuff, and you got to
Yeah.
be willing to put yourself out there, invest in your own show, your brand, you know,
Mm-hmm.
just go and showcase and go to open mics. Like you gotta grind, you gotta write.
Yeah.
I had an opportunity to meet Rebecca Dupas, who's one of the spoken word artists who did How to Slay a Dragon. She's gone viral with this piece.
Mm-hmm.
She has a community called Harvest Society. So one of the things I've been challenging myself to do is to write every day, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like most people, they're sharpening their saw daily. You know,
Yeah.
you can't just have this idea then don't put any work behind it. Like you got to put some elbow grease.
Yeah.
And you got to be willing to do it, even when nobody is clapping for you, when no one is, you know, shouting out your name. You got to keep on believing in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with doing podcasts, radio. You know,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you got a lot of people watching. Sometimes you got no people watching. You got to still keep pushing because somebody's watching. If it's one person, 2 people, 3 people, they all matter.
And that's another thing that Talent said to me. And I like it's funny because I don't talk about him normally this much, but it's just like the things that he said always stuck with me. I remember one time we were doing 3 shows, and the first 2 shows were great. The last show was like late, it's like 1 a.m. So it was probably like 8 people there. And I remember I went on stage. I had like this, like I had like an attitude, like you know what I mean? Like it disgusts me to even think about. But I had an attitude because it was only 8 people. So I went on stage with this attitude. And I remember as soon as I came off stage, he said, "Hey man, it doesn't matter if it's 8 people here or 8,000. You should give them the same show. It's not their fault other people didn't show. They're here. Other people didn't." And it made me, I had to completely check myself and shift the way I thought about everybody that comes to the show. I don't care if it's 2 people. Like I'm gonna give them the exact same show. I got to.
I think that's such great advice.
Yeah.
Because I think the world of social media has really made you, and not that this stuff doesn't matter. So I want to be clear, you know, the numbers matter, but you can get so caught up in the numbers that you miss great opportunities because you don't know who's in that audience.
Exactly.
You don't know that those 8 people can bring you to the 8,000, right? And not that should be what your focal point is, but
you don't know who they know.
You should want to give them a good show because they came out to see you, period. It's almost like when I was younger and I used to, you know, throw little kid parties and stuff. And my friends would come and I would get upset because certain people didn't come. But your mother would say, but those friends came. Those are real friends because they're here. How you gonna be upset about the ones that didn't show up? It's like the same concept. And it makes so much sense. Like love on the people who supporting you, people who are, you know, encouraging you, because that's your fuel. Right? Those that's your support system. Yeah. If you build it, they will come. Eventually the masses will show up. There you go. Don't worry about that. Worry about your craft, worry about whether or not you love it and do you have a passion to do it. I think those are the starting points that really, really help you to succeed, because life be lifing. And if you don't really love what you do, you will always want to quit. And that's life's harder all the time. That's not to say that even when you love something, you don't question it. but I
Right.
think it's more so just being human.
Yeah.
Right? The humanness of, am I on track? Am I doing what I'm supposed to do?
Mm-hmm.
Am I in alignment? Is this what you want me to do, Lord? You know, because I'm
Right.
spiritual
Oh.
too. Because sometimes you could be in your own head about stuff
Mm-hmm.
and think that's what you're supposed to do, and it's hard, and you keep trying and trying and trying, and nothing works.
Yeah.
And then other times it's working out, but you don't see it because you have a different vision than what God has for you. And I've learned that even with my practice, it's like I want it to be so big, so fast, so soon. But He already sent me to clinicians. He already sent me clients. Am I grateful for what I already have?
See, and that's so, as entrepreneur, like you get so caught up in the next thing, you miss what you're doing and where you're at. Like I saw a post one time that made me check myself. It was like, what you're doing now is what you prayed for.
Ooh,
I was like, it is
that part.
like now I'm not where I want to be right now, but what I'm doing right now is absolutely what I prayed for. So then, you have, I have moments where I have to go and I have to stop and look back and think about just appreciate where I'm at, where I've come from, and where I'm positioned to go. And
That's
I
right.
just have to just be appreciative for that.
That's right. You guys are tuned into Conversations with Coach La La La. I got FunnyMan Mike James on the line with me on the virtual couch. You know what it is. It's the Urban
Yep.
Heat, with Boston's only Black-owned radio station that's on the iHeartRadio platform. And I always say that with my chest because I'm super proud about that. So we're just talking about how to tap into your purpose, how to, take something that you think is just a gift or a talent, right? And to convert that into something that actually can be lucrative and into currency. Season 8 has been all about the pivot, right? It's been about reinventing yourself, reclaiming your voice, especially when life is lifing and throwing you lemons and you think you're off track and you got to make that into lemonade. So one of the things we talk about on the show, Mike, is therapy, right? Therapy. I wouldn't be a show with a therapist without talking about therapy, right?
Right.
So we gotta talk a little bit about therapy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what does therapy mean to you, and how has it played into your journey of self-discovery and success?
So when I think of therapy, I think of healing. That's the first thing I think of, is just healing. So all right, just a quick
Yeah, I'm
background.
getting all in your business.
No,
This is where you get vulnerable on the couch. And then warmed you up now.
No, you're good. This is cool. So when I was 7, my mom, she passed, and this was in the 80s, right? So Black families, I mean, we not therapy is no, what are you talking about? Like that didn't even exist in the household. So it was just kind of get over it kind of situation. Well, over years, I didn't realize how that kind of manifests itself in the different things in your life. Long story short, it was a couple years back, I had food poisoning like 3 times in 18 months. Right. So then I'm scared of eating meat. So I'm a vegetarian. But every time I eat now, I'm nervous that I'm gonna get sick. So my wife says, you need to go talk to somebody because it sounds like PTSD. I'm like, that's ridiculous. Because it's no, you know what I'm saying? It's like, this is PTSD. I'm thinking this is like, I am not a soldier. You know what I mean? Like this is what I associate PTSD with. So, she's telling me this, and in the back of my mind, I don't want to go because I'm thinking therapy. As a comedian, we feel like all comedians are broken in some kind of way. Let's start there. So as a comedian, though, you feel like that works in your favor.
Right. You
So
turn our pain into jokes.
yeah, so I didn't want to go there and he fixes me and I'm not funny anymore. So part of that was playing, which is ridiculous, but that was playing in my head. But finally, I went and I go and I tell him that PTS, I'm having issues with eating, and he starts digging around, and we end up having like a 2 hour session, and it goes all the way back to not dealing with my mom's death.
Wow.
I don't, and it was like, you know, uh, it was rough after therapy. After every session, I'm physically tired.
Mm-hmm.
I um like physically tired. Like I just had basketball practice.
Mm-hmm.
Just from I, the digging up all the stuff and dealing with it's
It's
rough,
messy.
and it is, and you don't. It's like one of those things. It's like I dread doing it, but I never get better sleep than after I have a session in therapy. I sleep like a baby.
Yeah. I think often we don't realize the defense mechanisms that we learn to
Mm,
be able to do life when life is life. And
mm.
disassociation is a real thing. I think a lot of Black folks, we do it often just to be able to not
Oh yeah.
crash out. You think about the microaggressions we deal with, the different stresses that we deal with on a day-to-day basis. A lot
Hmm.
of us disassociate just to be able to go to work and parent our kids and just be able to do
Sure.
what we got to do. So if that's what you're accustomed to doing, deflecting, projecting, that's how you have moved through life. So to sit
Hmm.
still, most people don't realize that a trauma response often is to keep moving.
Hmm.
That's what we've all been taught. Like, just keep moving, just keep
Yeah.
doing, keep going. Who got time for all them feelings? Feelings
Hmm.
ain't gonna change nothing, like all that crying, like that's just part of a lot of lived experience of Black folks is that we gonna make jokes and we gonna
Yeah.
keep
Right.
moving, you
Yep.
know. And
Yep.
sometimes we do need to sit still and think about it, process and
Hmm.
cry,
Yeah.
And most of us, that is the worst thing to do is to have to cry. Like, man,
Yeah.
listen, people will fight before they'll cry.
Right. Right. Well, that was what you always taught us. Like, don't let people, when you're doing bad, don't let people see it.
Right.
You
Never let them see
always
you sweat.
no, you always project strength, and it's just like you can never show any kind of weakness or any kind of vulnerability, and it's just
Mhm.
like living like that is
It's, it, it,
impossible.
it, it takes a toll. I was
Yeah.
watching a interview that Joey Badass did, and he was saying he
Mhm.
canceled his tour. And they had advised him not to tell the truth, that it was mental health. He wasn't in the
Mhm.
right mental space to do the tour. He has a 5-month-old baby, a fiance. He just wasn't in the headspace for it.
Yeah.
He was like, say anything. His father was like, say I'm sick, but don't say
Right.
that, right? So there is a added pressure of being able to say or not be able to say that you're not okay, right? Or
Yeah.
things are not going well, or I don't feel good
Hmm.
mentally. Like that's just something that most people don't feel comfortable talking
Yeah.
about. And I wonder how that plays into both in a positive and a not so positive way in terms of like going after your dreams and goals, because sometimes that really makes you hyper focused, right?
Sure.
Because you don't want to be poor, you don't want to be
Hmm.
like everybody else, and you get laser focused and you're going hard
Hmm.
to really be able to change your life. But I
Yeah.
was listening to Gucci Mane's book
Hmm.
episodes and how his lack of paying attention to his mental health and use of drugs and all of those type of things, but he was hyper focused on success at the same time.
Hmm.
I don't know what your experience has been like, but how did therapy? How did it end up playing out? Still doing it? You done? Did you get
Yeah. No.
discharged?
So no. Definitely, it's a ongoing thing. I feel like it's maintenance to a degree. At times, I feel like it's maintenance. Uh, I, 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 I don't do it as often as I need to. Uh, and usually when I do it, is you just get to that point. You're like, oh, I gotta call my man Ron. Like, I need to get on the books. Um, but I definitely need to do it more. At least once a quarter.
I love that you're saying that it's maintenance, because I don't
Yes.
think a lot of people look at having a therapist similar to having your primary care doctor, and it just
Mhm.
being that it's part of your self-care, it's part of you just making sure, like a quarterly check-in, an annual
Oh, yeah.
check-in, just making
Mhm.
sure that you're not developing any unhealthy coping strategies. There's so many things being perpetuated, from alcohol,
Mhm.
this vaping and the weed. It's just so many things that we use to cope,
Sure.
and people
Yeah.
don't look at those as ways to cope. Most people only look at it as, oh, I'm having a good time, I'm partying, but those are coping
Yeah.
strategies,
Exactly.
very much coping strategy.
Mhm.
So I don't know if you knew this, but something that I looked up that I found was really cool is that laughter therapy, laughter actually reduces stress hormones by 40%, and it boosts your immunity and
Mhm.
increases the dopamine level. So there's good reason to go to a comedy show and to laugh.
Oh,
Like, laughter,
absolutely.
when it says it's good for your soul, that's not a joke, right? Like,
Yeah.
so you said earlier, and I'm not gonna let you get off the hook of this. You said it was crazy, but you said you thought that you wouldn't be funny anymore if the pain and the trauma and the drama was
Yeah.
fixed.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's interesting,
Yeah.
because most artists make their best work when they're going through stuff. So
Right. That's why I didn't want to. I didn't want to lose it. I was like, no, man, I can't. I need this. I need to
listen,
be depressed like this, man. I need this.
I think that's something. Prentice Powell, shout out to Prentice, love him. He's up for a Grammy
Oh,
consideration right now for a spoken word
shout
album.
out to him. Yeah, that's dope.
Pack Light, and he had talked about most of his poems were connected to the trauma and
Mhm.
drama with his father. Those are like what he got known for. But
Mhm.
as him and his father has been rebuilding the relationship, he don't feel the same about doing those poems no more,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then I had another poet that similar said the same thing, like poems about heartbreak and all of that. Like, I don't know if I want to do these poems no more. I'm in a
Right.
loving relationship. I want to write about love.
Yeah. So where you go from there? Like, you try to write about love, people like, I don't want to hear that. I want to hear your depression. Where's that at? So
Right,
that,
right.
yeah, that's what I was worried about.
Yeah. So how have you made that shift? So as you're feeling better, have you kept the funny?
Oh
How
yeah.
have you kept it?
Yeah. It was a ridiculous thing to think. Like, it didn't affect me at all. You know what I mean? It just didn't. It helped my life. It didn't hurt my career. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So it was just a ridiculous thing to even think. I don't know where it came from.
Well, it's called an intrusive thought. Those automatic thoughts will get you every time, people.
Yeah.
That negative self-talk will mess you up. Now,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
mentioned talent. You talked
Hmm.
about him a great deal, but you
Hmm.
perform on stages with many legends.
Sure.
Thinking about them, what did you learn, or what did each teach you about your
Hmm.
craft and your character?
So I've been blessed to learn from a lot of people. I I used to tour with Lonnie Love. One thing I learned from Lonnie is um, how you have to tell people how to treat you. Um, I really learned that because as as a black woman dealing in this business, she has to deal with a lot. So that's one thing she taught me. You tell people how to treat you. So shout out to Lonnie. Nate Bargatze, man. I mean, I learned from him how to, like, just stay committed to the craft of comedy, and like, do the work. That is one thing. That dude does the work. I don't know if you've seen him, but this dude is hilarious. So shout out to him. My man Godfrey, I don't know, man. Godfrey, to me, even before I started working with him, he was one of my top 5 comedians of all time. And now that we're like he's my friend, my big brother, and to work with him every week I work with him, I leave feeling stronger as a comedian just from watching him. Like he's so talented. I'm like it is insane how talented dude is and how smart he is. From him, I learned to just like write, write from your just write your truth, and that's all he does is write his truth. And yeah, I mean, I could go on forever. I try to pick something from everybody I work with.
Yeah, it's a great thing to be exposed to living legends, right? Like we know about a lot of them by watching them, and they're no longer here. But being around living legends, I think Kevin Hart. There was a clip I saw of him about getting around people who want more in life, right? People who are sharpening their saw and talking about how to get better, gratitude, and talking about spirituality and just self-care and good health. Like getting around people like that, it's hard not to want to do the same things. Like I started hanging around people who were doing 5Ks and talking about health. Next thing you know, I'm doing 5Ks. I'm at 6 so far this year. But it's like when you change your environment and your surroundings and the people that you're talking to, everything shifts. You really do shift when you switch who you're around. Can't sit around people like that for so long. You're either going to be inspired by them or become a goddamn hater, right? You're going to either, frown your face up and, get all, pissy and, kind of, eliminate yourself out of the circle. You're going to get inspired. There's only two directions, right, that you can really get.
What's that energy? That transfer of energy.
Transfer of energy. Yeah. And they're not going to let you sit around them for too long because people be like, listen, bro, you're complaining too much. Just like Talent saying, hey, fix your face.
Yeah, if you're not moving, if you're not moving, if you're with somebody who's moving and you're not moving, you're going to get left. They're not going to wait for you. They're not going to try to pull you along. They're going to see you're not moving and they'll just keep going with their business. So you gotta get on board or get left behind.
I'm glad you brought that up because I know that's sort of been a touchy subject, right? With crabs in the barrel concepts, haters, folks kind of stepping on other people, or as you said, you get left behind. How much of responsibility is for you to go pull people up or give them advice if they really are kind of in their own way? At what point do you cut ties? Because I think that's a hard thing for a lot of people. Survivor's remorse is real.
Sure. Yeah. If somebody wants it, it is definitely your responsibility to help them. If you're in a position to help and you see somebody that needs the help and they're working, no, you it's your responsibility to. But if you're with somebody who's not trying, like you can't. I mean, they're drowning. You can't help somebody like that. At some point you're gonna have to cut them off. And I mean, when to do it, when to know how to, I don't know. That's something you have to pray on and kind of assess with and who it is too. I'm sure that'll play a part in it too. Like if you kind of be less quick to cut off somebody that's real close to you, but eventually if they're holding you back, you're gonna have to, if you're trying to get somewhere, you can't have somebody that's holding you back.
Yeah. I think it's a tough one for family, friends, and a spouse. Because sometimes that happens when you're married too. I have a lot of married couples that start to outgrow one another. So another thing I found that I thought was really interesting, and I'm wondering if you knew this, and representation matters, but only 6% of mainstream comedy specials feature Black comedians as a lead.
Mm.
And I said, that's really low.
Yeah, I mean, be honest, I didn't know it was 6%, but I'm definitely not shocked by that.
Yeah, I was
That's
like,
yeah,
that's super low. Super
that
low. Gi-
I
given
mean,
that, given that, the other thing that I found that was interesting for
hmm
all of the people that want to be creative or get in this industry, it's a $1.2 trillion industry annually, right?
hmm
Comedy, film, digital content make up 17% of that pie. So
wow,
it's a lot of money on the table out there, folks,
oh
to
yeah,
get and to make. So I would just say, don't give up on your dreams, even if you do got to get a full-time job, because people kind of get on folks for working. Sometimes
nah,
you got to get a 9 to 5 to fuel your dreams and goals. And like you said, you were blessed to have your partnership and your wife,
yeah,
where you could go chase it, go do it. But sometimes you
hmm
gotta do both at the same time. I had to work and build my private practice at the same time. I
yeah,
was doing Uber and Lyft. Nobody knows that. That's a little secret
hmm
about Coach. I did Uber and Lyft too while I was building this
Me
private
too. I did
practice.
that too. I did
You know,
Uber, Lyft.
I was out there getting it.
Yeah, I was at. I mean, when the pandemic hit, especially that was rough because there was no shows, so I had to get a job and started working at Amazon. Like I've worked at AT&T. Like I've done I've
Yeah,
worked full time and done comedy too. So it's
yeah.
yeah,
See,
you have
people
to do
don't
what you
know
got to
about
do.
that. We put the grind in. So let's move on into the bet on self moments, right? I know you probably, because we follow each other. These
Mm-hmm.
moments in our life where we decide, if not me, then who?
Mm-hmm.
And if not now, then when? And my dad used to say all the time, baby, bet on yourself, you'll never go wrong.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what, you're either going to learn something or you're going to win. So I really had to embrace that. And when he passed away, that became my daily mantra of
Mm-hmm.
how I was able to move through my grief. And then it has converted into a part of the segment of my, actually, it led to me doing this show. And now every day, it became a hashtag for me. And now it's part of my brand. And I actually have a
Okay.
course where I teach people how to bet on themselves and how to manage their
Awesome.
mental health.
Yeah.
So talk to me, Mike. Bet on self moments,
Mm-hmm.
past, present, or future. What's one of your bet on self moments that maybe we don't even know about that
Mm-hmm.
you've had to do to get to where you are? You kind of started already telling us a little bit about some of the back stuff that no one knows.
Yeah.
Like people didn't know we was out here getting it, doing Lyft and Uber. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Lyft and Uber, like I said, I was at AT&T. Um, I've done a number of jobs to try to offset not money, just not getting paid.
Mhm.
Um, but I think that DL moment was probably that was a moment where it was like, okay, like this has to change because it's just like I can't. It just didn't make sense to me. Like, what am I doing? And I don't know. I just ever since that moment, I hadn't felt the same about what what it is I actually do. So I felt at that moment I felt like, okay, this is where I want to take this from um, just something to do to an actual career. Like I really want this to be what I do for a living. And it was tough because and scary because like I said before, there's no roadmap. Right. So you don't know how to get where you're trying to go, which is scary. Like if you don't believe me, start driving with your eyes closed and see how that's the exact same feeling you get when you start out with this. And you just gotta I just felt like my prayers would be answered because my prayer was, listen, God, if this is not for me, if this is not what you want me to do, please take it off my heart. And
Oh, I say that same prayer, Mike.
really, really, yeah,
Oh
and
my goodness, that has been you know, God, if this is not what you want me to do, if this is not for me, I accept you removing it, and that you will replace it with something that is more in alignment with what you want for me to do. And I'm going to be grateful, and I'm going to give you all the praise no matter what.
Yeah.
You know, down to houses, and it just made me really stop idolizing and obsessing over materialistic things.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it was just like, if you could just take the love away from me. Like, if you don't want me to do it, just take the love away, and I can move on. And it it grew.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay,
I think I've said that prayer about some of my exes too.
That's hilarious.
Lord, take the love, take the desire, take the lust away. Just remove it from my body, Lord.
Won't he do it?
Supposed to be with, hallelujah.
Won't he do it?
I definitely have said that as well. We might have to take a quick. We got like 5 minutes before the legal disclaimer comes on. We got like 2 more things we got to do. If that happens, I'll play the disclaimer and then wrap up the show. But for everybody that's tuned in, I just want to give some quick shout outs because we got people on Instagram, Facebook, and everything that's giving us some love. Thank you, DJ Wade. He said, dope show. Mina Shea Style Journey. That's my sister. What's up, sis? She said, absolutely. So she's feeling the vibes. Again, shout out to my brother from another mother, Mr. Ray Royale. His show comes on Tuesdays right here on the Urban Heat at 9 p.m., the Ray Royale Experience. And then we had another listener that chimed in about the word no. Selvin said, no is one of the words we learn as a child. And as you know, the yeses will soon follow. No is part of the process. Just count your yeses. And I totally agree with that. I think we often get so caught up with the no's, but the no's are teaching you something. Usually there's some level of feedback that comes along with the no. I often tell my son and myself, whenever I would fail a test, I had to go back to my study habits. Was I really prepared? Why did I think I could not study and just walk into this test and pass, right? Or study briefly, or, you know, half-assly and then expect that I was going to pass. So sometimes you got to go back to your preparation, and it makes you better. Every no makes you better. So now the other piece that we talk about as we start to wrap up is Coach's Corner. And that's where we just give some insight on what we want people to walk away from tonight's conversation. And it's one of my favorite parts of the show. So Coach's Corner, right? You know, I had to have my own corner, you know. Coach, right? So a moment where we reflect and gather some key takeaways. And we want to leave the audience with something they can carry forward on their journey. I was very intentional about putting the show on a Sunday. A lot of people have insomnia, right? And they're up strolling. My goal with the show is that eventually there'll be the masses will come and log on to get their week and their mind right, because there's going to be some kind of nugget that we're going to drop from the guests that come on the show. So thinking about that, what do you want if you could talk to creatives that are out there and trying to figure it out? What is something that you would tell them that they could start like immediately to get themselves on the path of where they want to be?
Start. That's it. That's it. Get started. Because the longer you think about doing it, say I want to do it, you're gonna just keep on. You're just gonna keep delaying and postponing. Just go ahead and the hardest thing to do is get started. Get started and just go and keep going. Don't stop. Keep going. If this is what you're supposed to do, if you really believe and feel it in your heart that whatever you're doing as an entrepreneur, if you feel like that's what you're supposed to do, if you feel like that's your purpose, keep going. It'll happen.
Consistency, right? Shift from what if I fail to what if I fly.
Yes.
And I think people forget that they've survived 100% of their worst days. And you mentioned something earlier, Mike, about where you're at now. You once prayed for the car you drive, the apartment you have, the partner you have. At some point, it's like, man, if I can just get this job, or God, if you can just bless me with this car, or I get this house. I mean, most of us forget that we didn't always have everything we have right now.
Exactly.
You know, and being thankful for that.
Yeah, it's easy to forget when you're trying to get to the next thing.
Yeah, and sometimes I think our backgrounds as people of color, we don't give ourselves the opportunity to really embrace or celebrate our wins, because it's like don't get too excited about where you at now. You ain't where you supposed to be. Stop acting like you arrived. Hold on 1 second.
Yeah. Oof, that's it.
So yes, so you haven't arrived yet, so stop celebrating. I think about basketball, right? When you get that 3-pointer and the coach yells at you because you already dancing and you ain't won the game yet.
Yeah.
So like, so you ain't supposed to do that yet. You gotta wait till you win the game.
I know. And you will hear that voice in your head telling you, don't get too excited about this because this could happen. Like it's crazy.
Right. So takeaway, right? Strategy for this week, everybody. I want to challenge you to write down 3 ways to monetize a creative idea that you've been sitting on. I know I've been talking about mental health, and we've been talking about, domestic violence, and it's been heavy. But the reality of it is self-efficacy and being in a position where you can change your trajectory of your life is really the key to most of these problems, right? Is that you got to have a purpose. So pick one and take action within 72 hours. And as I told you guys last week, legacy isn't just what you leave behind. It's what you build while you're healing. Every time you choose to rise and you become someone else's blueprint. And that to me is really the definition of betting on self. Anything else you want to add, Mr. FunnyMan Mike James, before we wrap up for the night?
No, man, this was awesome. I appreciate you having me. I feel like I just left the couch.
Yeah, man, you was on the virtual couch. That's what we're talking about, I look forward to Jonathan, you coming down here to Boston. Maybe I'll be bringing you down with one of my poetry events, or you'll be at a comedy show there. Make sure you don't forget about Coach.
No doubt.
Market you and all of that good stuff. But thank you for your yes, like I said before, because we do get a lot of no's, but don't let that
thank
stop
you for the ask.
Thank you.
Thank you for the ask.
Yes, I appreciate you. Keep on making people laugh. Okay. And you guys know what I tell you every week. Make sure you bet on self. Next week, we're going to be on the virtual couch again. We're bringing back author Eric E.J. Jones. And we're talking about fathers of the future. I'm really, really big that fathers, especially Black men, are really, really important to us changing the trajectory of our communities and our world. So next week's episode is dedicated to the brothers and to my dad. So you don't want to miss that. Thank you again, Mr. FunnyMan Mike James, for coming on. And you guys have a great night. We'll see you next week on the virtual couch. Peace. And make sure you bet on self. Good night.